We are going to talk to the voice of the Oakland Athletics and college football and basketball play-by-play analyst from ESPN, Mr. Roxy Bernstein. What's going on, Roxy?
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good, my friend. Everything going on in the world and the transition of trying to get in and out of my house and going to the food market and trying to stay safe. How about you and your family? How is everything going on? How is everything going over there with you and your family with COVID-19?
Well, we're all safe. We're all healthy, which is a good thing. And an extended break, though, for me, which I'm not used to having. This is the longest stretch that I've ever been home before. I've been home since March 12th when I came back. I was at the Pac-12 tournament in Vegas, and I was supposed to go do the Big West semis and championship, but I came back after we played the first day, and then everything got shut down, and I've been home and on lockdown ever since. And it's look, we're fortunate, we're healthy, we're safe, which is good. But at some point, we'd like to get back to work. And when you make your living calling games, you'd like to get back to that. And hopefully we'll get there at some point. But in the meantime, we all got to be smart, and hopefully everybody can stay as safe as possible out there and healthy as possible.
Well, I have a very unique name. My name is Errol. I was named after Errol Flynn. I was wondering, where did you get your name, Roxy?
It's a nickname. I've had the nickname ever since before I was born, and it just stuck. You got yours for Errol Flynn. I got mine from my dad's golf caddy. My dad had a caddy whose name was Roxy, and this was going back to he was a semi-pro, could have turned pro prop maybe as a golfer, and my mom was about 6 or 7 months pregnant with me. She gets up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my dad, half asleep, kind of rolls over, and maybe he's thinking that over that putt he missed on 16, but hey Roxy, where are you going? And my mom's like, who's Roxy? And it just stuck from that point on. Even though my given name is Alan, I've never gone by it, even growing up as a kid, through elementary school, middle school, high school, whatever. I've always been Roxy, and that's it stuck, and I'm thankful for it, because it clearly is a lot different than anybody else, that's for sure.
Well, I know you're the voice of the Oakland Athletics, but I want you to grade Rob Manfred's offseason with the whole Houston Astros scandal all the way to handling the COVID-19. How would you grade Rob Manfred's offseason?
Well, let's start with the Astros situation. Let's talk some baseball.
Okay.
I personally think he could have done more. Look, he thought he hit them with a significant punishment, and the punishment will hurt them. There's no doubt. When you're losing draft picks like they are, and they're also getting fined $5 million as an organization. Jeff Luhnow, A.J. Hinch lose their jobs as a part of it. But I think more could have been done for Major League Baseball. I think the punishment should have been harsher. Look, I don't know if vacating the World Series title was on the table or not. I don't know how realistic or practical that could have been. But I do feel the punishment could have been harsher for Major League Baseball. And I'm anxious to see, once we resume and get back to baseball, what's the reaction going to be to the Houston Astros? And hopefully when we can get some return to some semblance of normalcy, we'll have baseball again, and we'll have crowds and fans in ballparks and stadiums and arenas. What is the fan reaction going to be toward the Houston Astros? And we saw a glimpse of it during spring training, but will it still be as forceful from the fans? And look, I know, for example, when they come to Oakland or they go to New York, that there is going to be some animosity from the crowd. But what's the general consensus going to be, considering what our country has gone through? And will time have passed? Will there be the sympathy factor just because of what everybody's dealing with? I'm anxious to see that, but let's face it, we're all hoping to get back to some semblance of normalcy, and we want to see games being played, and we want to resume life as normal as possible. Again, we want our sports back.
Roxy, I've always said that the Astros didn't get punished as hard because they were waiting to see on what the Red Sox were going to happen, and they're scandal is still pending. Do you think it's possible we could see more handed down to the Astros once we know what happens to the Red Sox?
I find it difficult that could be the case, just because I think Rob Manfred and baseball has already ruled, and they've done the investigation and the lengthy report that's come out. I'm just not sure there was any more information. Look, if there was something new that came out, then I could see a more significant punishment going in the direction of the Astros. But unless something new comes out or more information or there was other cheating that was taking place, I don't see them adding on to the punishment. We'll see what the fallout is for the Red Sox when this comes to light and Major League Baseball responds to them. But I just think that Major League Baseball already ruled and a precedent has been set, and I don't think they can go back to it. Like, for example, I don't necessarily think, unless the players lied, unless they lied to Major League Baseball and lied to the investigation, then I could see something else going on. Because the players are granted immunity for Major League Baseball to get the information. They couldn't get the info they needed. They couldn't get the goods on the Astros without the players talking. And look, I feel terrible for A.J. Hinch and that he lost his job in this and that he was not necessarily complicit, but at the same time, he didn't shut it down. And the players were not going to get punished. Should the Astros players, should Altuve, should Bregman, should they all get punished? Everybody's got their opinion, but I get where the MLB investigation is coming from, is they needed to get information out of them to be able to punish the Astros organization. And they couldn't do it without the players opening up and giving them the freedom to speak without punishment. So I do get a sense that they were truthful and honest, but if it comes down to that there was some lying and shenanigans go involved, then I could see something else handed out the Astros' way. But Major League Baseball had to grant them immunity to get the information, and I don't think the Players Union would sit idly if MLB wanted to punish the players even more.
We are talking to the voice of the Oakland Athletics, Mr. Roxy Bernstein. Roxy, do you think baseball moving towards the electronic umpires is going to speed up the game or change the game completely?
I think it'll change the game. I don't know if it necessarily will speed up the game, but there will be a change because you'll get a more uniform and consistent strike zone as opposed to, look, each individual umpire has a way they call the game, and their strike zone may differ. For example, one umpire strike zone, he may be a low strike umpire. Another one is a high guy, or another guy, gives you the inside but not the outside corner. You'll see a more uniform strike zone if that's the case. Will it speed up the game? I don't think so, because I think for the most part the umps do a really good job and are consistent, and the pitchers know that going in. They have an understanding of how the game is going to be called. So I don't necessarily think it'll speed up the game. You'll get a more uniform strike zone, but I don't necessarily know how that would impact the timing of a game and speed everything up.
How about the A's, the offseason acquisitions? Really, do they have a fighting chance right now in that division with all the acquisitions from all the other teams in that division?
Oh, I think so. I think the A's feel really good about their team going in. When they have the core coming back with Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Marcus Semien, Ramon Laureano. The group is coming back, and these young up-and-coming players that the A's have, we saw glimpses of it last year with guys like Sean Murphy as the catcher, with Jesus Luzardo and A.J. Puck. You're going to have a healthy Sean Manaea. I think the A's feel really good about their pitching, and they're starting pitching with all these young arms. And then you have a veteran presence like Mike Fiers. Then the bullpen with Liam Hendricks emerging as one of the elite closers last year, just a phenomenal season that he had. And the pieces in the bullpen to support him, hopefully a bounce back from Lou Trevino, that they feel really good about the group they had coming in. They didn't have to tinker all that much. Okay, you bring in, you make a trade, get Austin Allen to be a backup catcher coming over from the Padres, and you sign or you make a deal to get Tony Kemp to be a utility guy. I think the only real question mark for the A's is second base, and who's going to be the starter there with a couple of guys that are prospects within the system, like Franklin Barreto, Jorge Mateo. Does Kemp get a chance to start at that position? Will Chad Pinder get a look? That, to me, is the real only job that was on the line for the A's. And when you have as few question marks as they do going into the season, I think that's a really good thing.
Roxy, you brought up the prospects, Luzardo, Murphy, and Puck. They're all top 60 prospects right now. How do you think the shortened season could affect their development as a whole with the wacky formation of what MLB could be?
Well, I don't necessarily it'll affect them as much as it would some of the other guys in the system, like James Caprillion or Dalton Jeffries or some of these guys that are coming up through the pipeline for the A's. At least Murphy and Puck and Luzardo, they got a taste of it last year. So it's not going to be just eye-popping. All of a sudden they step in to a major league game for the first time. They got their feet wet last year, and they had a taste of success. So I think it only helps them. But my question is, as we proceed, what's going to happen with the minor leagues and with their player development? And what's going to happen, for example, I think, okay, the AAA, the AA level may get a little bit more attention, but what's going to happen to all the single-A prospects and players down the road that we're not going to see for another 2-3 years? And that's still to be determined in how things proceed. But with the frontline prospects the A's have, they're major league ready. So I don't think it's as much an issue for them as it is for maybe some of the players that are 2-3 years away.